So, we're at Convergence. We create the Silicon Nexus project. And I'm going to talk to you about player acquisition as a service. Every balance sheet, every business out in the world has an expense known as customer acquisition cost. It's everything that goes into getting that customer in and paying money for your product. So Convergence came together in 2015 thanks to this man right here, Prell, calling me up, laughing, saying, everything old is new again. Facebook just bought Oculus for $4 billion. I don't think anybody's ever made $100 million off of virtual reality. What are they going to do? Anyway, so we started evaluating the whole video game space because we grew up in video games. I created the first U.S. manufactured virtual reality arcade system, second one in the world back in '92, and Tom was on that team. Anyway, and out of that, we became the second largest VR company in the world and the largest head-mounted display purchaser. And John Carmack had created Wolfenstein 3D. We used his software to pretty much become that virtual reality company. And the funny part was, Carmack was working for Oculus, and now he's making head-mounted displays. So with that, I got a lot of good friends that went out in the industry, or was out in the industry and did some really cool things. Like Frank Ballou, that's when I met him. He started at Atari. Anybody know Atari? He started in Atari year one. He wasn't the first employee, but he started there in their first year and became their national sales and marketing manager. And he went on to companies like Namco and Nintendo and game companies like that. He has consulted for Microsoft and Intel. He's one of the founders of several of the industry organizations in video games. David Bishop was the chief operating officer for Bandai Namco USA for 26 years, and incidentally just bought all of their redemption arcades in the US with his new organization. We've got guys that built the Xbox third-party ecosystem, guys that built Disney Quest. So I can go on about this team forever. I feel like, an ant standing on the shoulder of giants. And the video game industry is kind of small. It only represents 1/3 of the planet. It's 2.7 billion people. It's $210 billion growing. At this point, it was growing 10% year over year before COVID, and I think it had a 30 to 40% jump last year. For some reason, everybody stays home, they play video games. And it's gone to 100% downloadable content. That's how they make their money, is you get the video game for free and they give you little micro purchases, and those little micro purchases are downloadable content or video game items, okay, that can be turned into non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Anybody in here heard of an NFT before, other than the other talks today? Few people have, right? So we're reimagining the whole video game space using our Droid tokens, which is a fungible token, and third parties' non-fungible tokens. Now we make non-fungible tokens ourselves, but we made a whole ecosystem and a whole marketplace with these third-party NFTs. And we discovered something, we really stumbled in something that we didn't comprehend what it really meant. And it works off of human nature. What do you do when you get a new toy? Anybody? You want to play with it, right? How do you play with a new video game item that you just got? You have to have the game. So if you can figure out a way to get hundreds of millions of people a month to select these new video game items over something else, odds are very high that they're going to download that game. Okay? So then we had to figure out, well, where can we find these people to choose these items over something else. Well, in the out-of-home entertainment industry, 500 million players a month before COVID. I hate that you have to put those little things in there today, but 500 million players a month worldwide would trade tickets for prizes they knew sucked. Who's done that? You get this big pile of tickets and you're so happy, and you walk up to the counter and you're just like, oh, I got a rubber ducky, I got an eraser, and I got vampire teeth. But I got 42,000 tickets, really? That's the way it works. So that's where we come in. We compete with those physical prizes with digital prizes. Now, who here has teenagers? Who here is a teenager? Okay. Pretty much, if you get somebody younger than 30, the choice between all of those high-end plastic prizes behind the redemption counter or a Fortnite item, what do you think they're going to choose? Fortnite item, 99.99% of the time. So and when they choose that new item from a video game, because remember, you've got a stationary, static item that's just sitting dead on a shelf, and then you've got a video running over here of this really cool looking flaming sword or whatever. So we've got that video to entice them to come and try this out. Well, that becomes player acquisition as a service. It's the only time in retail, and please tell me if you know of a different time in retail, where people have already spent their money. Money's gone, and now they have a pressure situation to figure out what did they spend their money on. Mom's like, come on, we gotta go get in the car, hurry up, choose your prizes, and let's go. And you got this really nice flashy video that Tom created versus, a dead stuffed animal over here. What Jason, that's before he came to work for us, he actually did a study. We commissioned him to come and do a study to test the machines in an arcade to see how many people would choose the video game items over the static items, and we told him he cannot address them unless they address the machine first. The machine has to attract them over there first. So of everybody going through there, 30% of the people wanted video game items, and the other 70% didn't know it was an option. So we think we can get that 30% way up there. But that's player acquisition as a service. So back here a couple slides ago, if you look at the old model in video games, they spend a phenomenal amount of money to get players into the games, and then those players win all these prizes, these items. The new model is we give them an item, and they'll download the game. So what does that mean as an impact to a video game company? Well, this is Machine Zone, Game of War, Fire Age. Yeah, they probably pulled that off as multiple different things at the time to come up with that title. But it cost them probably about $200,000 to build that game. It cost them $44 million to make it one of the top sellers. Quick math, that's 99.5% of their budget went towards player acquisition. And we can get them that level of players for just the video game items out of their game. Now, how much does it cost them to make video game items after they've created the game? Nothing. So we can remove or substantially put a dent in their player or their customer acquisition costs, or in video games, player acquisition costs. So we've created the digital vending machine. It's kind of like a candy machine where people give us the candy and we put it out there. We don't have to go service it. We can do it all remotely. We have a trade binder. All of this is set up in the other room where you can try it out and see how it works. And we have the Nexus Marketplace where people can trade, where they can sell brand new NFTs. They can sell their used NFTs because you can't really wear one of them out. And they can auction off NFTs. And all of that's up and going. So NFTs are pretty much the hottest trend right now. You have Dorsey sold the first tweet ever for $2.9 million. There was a NFT that sold not too long ago for what, $69 million? That was a piece of artwork. No utility. We're talking video game items have utility. Everybody knows what utility is. It means you can do something with it other than just stare at it on the wall. So we've also, partnered up with multiple different companies, and we're using their NFTs, or we've created NFTs for some of these. And in the process, we told them to let's get these of the top games out there. Let's go ahead and get gift cards in our system. So the programmers replicated a perfect gift card that you would get off the shelf at like a Best Buy or something like that, and they put a scratch off on the back of it, which is pretty freaking cool, I'd say. So yeah, they created digital scratch offs as NFTs. It's got a lot of other implications. We'll let somebody else handle that, but we made the technology. If anybody's got the licensing to do the gambling side of it, we can talk. We don't want to do the gambling side of it. So in an average arcade, those machines are making $10,000 a month profit. We went to IAPA and got, in 2019 in November, and we got, we were looking for a demand, or we were looking for about 5 to 10 locations to sign up so we can go install them and get them to try it out. We hit some of the largest locations out there, got excited about it, and we had a demand for about 6,000 locations if we could fill the whole demand. But we had to roll them out slowly. They wanted us to install the first 10, and we try them out. So we basically started installing those February 27th in New Rochelle, New York of 2020. Everybody heard of New Rochelle, New York? Anybody know the date, February 27th? Ground zero of COVID, the day they found it, I was sitting right there. And the next week, the world shut down. So, we know that the future is digital. So our guys, that was kind of a kick in the gut to us. Then a few months later, we got the first PPP money, and we got things going back again. We decided to kind of rebuild the system. So now we're on Gen 2 of it. It's far more robust. We got the scratch offs. That's when we built the scratch offs and put that in there. And now we're ready to start rolling back out. In the period from February of 2020 to now, NAMCO, which was one of the biggest groups that wanted our machines in the US and around the world, they pulled out of the US. And they, as I was just saying, they sold the majority of their Redemption Center arcades to CTM Group, who David Bishop, part of the groups part of our team basically, is running them because he ran them before. So we went from like a kick in the gut to, hey, this is not that bad, folks. We can make this work. So that's effectively what we do. And I will go into some, I'll probably do another talk later on this afternoon and talk about the financials of it. I actually thought this was the talk I queued up, but I actually queued up the wrong one. So I went through it anyway. Do we have any questions? Anybody have questions on where we're at or what we're doing? All right. Yes, sir.
How many out-of-home entertainment centers are there globally, and how many transactions happen on a daily basis?
There were 80,000. I have not gotten the numbers of what survived COVID. Most likely went down to about 20,000. But with 80,000, they were doing roughly 500 million transactions a month. So I'm going to say there's still over 100 million transactions a month when they're fully operational again, because right now, even the ones that are open are like 50% capacity and that sort of stuff. Still, on a normal blockchain, 5 arcades would shut the blockchain down in a month. So we're basically blockchain agnostic. You know, we are a second tier system, or tier 2 system, as they say. And we're more worried about the top quality games and the top quality NFTs. And when they're in the system, they can trade them around instantaneously with no gas costs. And right now, the last time I checked, to mint an NFT costs about $80 in Ethereum. To transfer that NFT, depending on the NFT, can be between $40 and $80. So if you're Fortnite and you have 248 million players, that can get a little expensive. So that's why they would use our back end. We can make the NFTs for them. We can handle all the transactions. And if the players want to push them out to go over to like OpenSea or something like that, then those gas costs leaving our system is on the player, not on the company.